So I'm going to take you on a little journey. Just yesterday, I got a call from Randy Akers, and his father, Uncle Albert, died just 2 days ago. And this is Uncle Albert right here. He was my father's brother, 1 year older. And about 10 years or so ago, I wanted to go and visit where they actually had their farm out in the prairies of Colorado. I flew in there and picked up Uncle Albert, and we went on a 2-day journey so he could show me the history of my father, who had died a couple years earlier. But I just wanted to retrace the whole steps. This is a long video, an hour and 15 minutes long. At about 57 minutes, though, is really interesting because my father was a real innovator. He didn't have much, and there's a lot of cool things he did, like build a diving board and build a well and a whole bunch of cool things. So we travel out to Seibert, and hopefully for some of you, the family, it would be a great journey for you. Others will be bored silly, but for me, it really helps me understand the history of my father and his resourcefulness as we go back to the old country farm.
Just like in a bedroom?
Yeah, you called it a bedroom.
Yeah, it wasn't even a bedroom.
No, never.
Just popped out and away you go to work, right?
Yep.
And what year was that? When were you born?
I was born in 26.
Wow.
He was born in 27. There's 13 months difference in our age.
So not much.
No.
Not much. And how old are you now?
86.
86. Wow. When again?
26.
1926. So the Great Depression had not started yet. Great Depression started at 29, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were too young really to remember what life was about, or when do you remember?
I can remember that in the old days, back then when we was kids, we only had one thing for dinner at night as a rule. A lot of times you would have mush. You know what mush is?
Tell me about it. What's mush?
Mush is cornmeal boiled in water. Put a little salt in it, and you got to put a little cream and sugar on it. That's what you ate.
And that was dinner?
Yeah. Sometime we'd have oyster stew. Sometime we'd have...
Where'd you get oysters? Cow balls?
No.
No.
No, fresh oysters.
Where would you get those? Freshwater?
Stores.
Freshwater, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had a lot of biscuits and gravy and pancakes.
That is funny that you would say pancakes, because I was just talking to my mom this morning, and she got up and she said to me, I haven't had pancakes in a while. And she said, Harry always loved pancakes, and he always wants pancakes. He always liked it when I made pancakes. And you ate a lot of pancakes.
Oh, yes.
Why?
Well, all it took on it is flour, milk, and salt, and baking powder. That's all it took to make them.
Yeah, so not a whole lot.
Nope. Then sometime we'd have biscuits and gravy. If we happened to find a jackrabbit, killed a young jackrabbit, they'd fry it and make biscuits and gravy with it.
And was the rabbit good eating?
Yep, up until summertime. We got the young ones, they was good, but the older ones in the fall...
Straight ahead?
Yeah, we was going.
The older one in the fall, yeah?
They had blisters on them, you didn't eat them. Don't go in this light or touch that thing, because you get $45 to $75 they got cameras.
Oh, they got the lights there, yeah. I see them. So they had blisters on them. How'd they get blisters on them? What was that?
Disease.
Oh, I see. So you get the young ones, and you're okay. And how did you get them? You shoot them?
Shoot them or run them down.
What kind of gun? 22?
22 single shot.
Yeah. So every time you had to put a new bullet in?
Yep. Still got the gun.
You still have the gun?
My son has. I give it to him.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, that's too much. So you were first, then Darlene. No,
Darlene.
Darlene's first?
Yeah, Darlene's the oldest, then me.
Yeah.
Then Harold, Frosty, Dorothy, and my little sister was stillborn.
Oh. So there's 6 of you total. I didn't know about the stillborn. Wow. How about that? So what's your earliest memory?
I guess when I started to school, started when I was 5 years old.
What do you remember?
Oh, that there was one girl in my class, and we was only 2 in our class, and I know everybody picked on us, thought we was little squeakies, couldn't do nothing.
What's a little squeaky? What do you mean? Because you were little?
Little.
Because there was one classroom for everyone?
Oh yeah, through 8th grade.
Ah, I see.
I'll show you the school we went to.
Oh, I can't wait.
Ain't much there now though.
No kidding.
Where I was born, there's just a windmill. Where Harold was born, there's nothing there now.
Wow. How long's it been since you've been back?
Oh, about 6 months.
Oh, so you've been back recently?
Oh yeah. I was down there. I was down there for Memorial Day, and then I was down there once since then.
Okay, and what brought you back there?
I go down for Memorial Day and put flowers on the graves every year, and then I had to go down to my mother-in-law's funeral. She passed away. She's 97 years old.
So you're a one-room schoolhouse. How many kids in there?
Anywhere from 7 to 9.
So very small.
Oh yeah,
And how was the teacher?
good.
Tell me about her or him.
I had the first teacher I really remember is a man by the name Morse Wren.
Okay.
He told me to do something one time, and I said, I don't think I have to do that. He never said nothing. He just come up, had overalls on, with the spinders.
Yeah.
Grabbed me by the spindle, took me out in the hallway, and gave me a paddle.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Never said a word.
Yep.
And then did that give you the attitude adjustment you needed?
Yep. Then when I got home, the kids told my dad about it, so I got another one.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh yeah.
How old do you think you were?
I was probably 7 or 8.
Wow.
And I'll show you where this little school, where I'm going to show you where we went. Harold and I, he was in the 3rd grade, and I was in the 4th grade at the time. And we used to take a 5-gallon cream can and walk a quarter of a mile up there to a windmill and get our water, and we carry it back for the kids to drink. That's the way they got their drinking water.
So, 8 years old, so that was your first teacher who gave you a paddle out in the hallway, and then you got another one right after that from your dad.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about life on the farm, 8 years old. What's going on?
Well, we was milking cows, feeding calves. I out of the bucket out of skim milk, and you gather the eggs, got the chickens in, and hogs, cattle. Walk out in the pasture at night, get the milk cows and bring them in.
How many cows?
We were milking probably about 14 at that time.
And was that big, small?
That was small at the time.
And
That was pretty good though. I mean, that's what paid for all of our stables,
Yeah.
just the cream and eggs.
And why farming? Why did your dad get into farming?
Well, he came from Illinois where there was farming. He come out there and he met my mother there, and Grandpa was a farmer, so they farmed together then.
So your father met your mother in Colorado?
Yeah.
Interesting. And what's the ethnic background of your dad? You know?
Not really.
You don't know. You don't know where he came from. He's not German. He's not English. He's not Dutch.
I think he's got more English than anything. He came from Illinois.
What about your mom?
She came from Iowa.
She came from Iowa?
Her dad did. Yeah.
You know ethnic background? No idea?
No.
No idea what country they came from?
No.
Don't you think? Isn't that odd?
No.
No?
Yes, it might be, but I never did get into it.
Isn't that interesting? Because everybody was an immigrant to the United States, so
That's very true. They were.
that's why it seems so interesting where they would have been from. Is there any way to find that out?
Dorothy probably knows that. I think Grandpa might have came from Wales. I'm not for sure.
You mean your father came from Wales?
No, my grandpa, Gales.
Oh, from Wales. It sounds like it, wouldn't it? Gales? That sounds like an English name.
He's over there someplace.
Is Akers an English name? He's just not sure.
I'm not sure.
Oh, how Fascinating. Huh. Wow. Okay. So they met in Colorado, and your dad starts farming. Did your dad like to farm?
Yeah, I think he did. That's all they did all his life. Until he got bad health. Then he come to Denver and worked in a caretaker at an apartment house after they divorced. Well, during the war, we sold out in '43, and he come to Denver and worked at Gates Rubber Company. Then him and my mother separated. That's the last I ever seen of of her at all.
Who were you closer to, your dad or your mom?
Grandpa.
You called him Grandpa?
No, that's, of all my in-laws, I was closer to my grandpa than I was anybody.
And that's your Grandpa Gales?
Yeah.
And where did he live?
He lived same place we did, and then he moved to Seibert. And when I finished high school, I stayed with him my senior year because I didn't want to move to Denver when they moved up there or had our sale. I graduated in '40.
What was your dad like? How would you describe your dad?
Oh, he was a person that liked to help somebody else more than he liked to help himself.
Is that where Dad got it from?
I don't know. You think your dad's that way?
He seemed to be that way. You tell me.
Yeah.
You knew him better than I knew him.
I'll tell you what. He'd give you the shirt off his back, Harold would. But he didn't like to gamble, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And so why do you think your dad liked to do that? Why do you think your dad had that disposition in life?
I have no idea. I've thought about it many a time. Because I can remember when I came back out of the service and then working on the farm out there, and he'd spend more time in the VFW putting a new floor in the thing for skating and basketball, and he went out on the farm.
Now, as I recall from my dad's stories, your dad was a tough guy. Was he not a tough guy, or
He
was he just a
was-
super nice guy?
No, he was very well. He had no patience with us boys. I don't know why, but he had no patience because
Interesting. And how did that bear itself out?
it didn't bear it out very good. Because I'll tell you what, he was real mean to Harold. Harold had he wouldn't give in for nothing.
Yeah.
If he was getting a spanking or beaten or whatever you want to call it, he would never cry. Dad would just. I seen one time they had a whipping him, and he took the strap away from it and started pounding on his dad.
Dad did?
Yeah,
And so what did his dad do?
stop. I think that pretty well stopped the spankings.
Was Dad big enough to do that?
Harold was big.
So he was big.
I mean, at that time, he wasn't as big as. But you take when he was playing football, at that time, he wasn't that tall. We get over this lane.
Yeah.
He weighed 180, 85 pounds.
Right. And for that day and age, that was pretty big,
Yeah,
right?
it
Most
was.
people were 130, 140.
40 pounds. We got farther to go than I thought.
Wow. And so how good a football player was Dad?
All conference in Inglewood High School. He graduated from Inglewood High School.
Did he
here
really?
In Denver, yeah.
So that's a pretty good football player.
Oh, yeah. And a very good wrestler.
So what
played-
position did he play in football?
Guard.
Okay.
He's a pulling guard. He was faster than you think he was until he got his foot hurt. He got it when he was, I don't know how old he was. I was working in the harvest, and the guy let him ride a horse that shouldn't have been on, and throwed him and busted his leg.
Is that right? And
Yeah.
tell me about that event. Straight?
Yeah, keep going.
And what happened with that event? You want to turn?
Well, we'll just go on to 70 now.
Yeah. Okay, so talk to me about what happened when he busted his foot. He's riding a horse that he shouldn't have been riding, a little wild.
Yeah, the horse, and then throwed him off and busted his leg and the bone was sticking out the thing. And they took him to Burlington to the hospital, and I was in Genoa at Harvestfield. So I come down, was coming down to see him. I thought, well, I'll hitchhike because I had to wait for a bus. I'll never hitchhike again.
Why not?
Oh, I couldn't catch no rides.
Oh, okay.
You want to turn right on 70 up here.
Okay.
We
So
should've turned
you
on.
went down to the hospital, and then what happened?
Well, I found out what he was going to be there for a while. Well, they had to take and put a.
How old was he at this time?
I was probably 17 probably.
Okay. And he goes into the hospital, and then what happens?
Well, he had such a break in there, they had to poke gauze in there to keep the proud flesh out the way they did then, so it healed from the inside out instead of scabbing over and causing proud flesh.
Oh.
That's the reason he always limped a little. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah, it was from that injury.
Did you ever see his ankle?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
I want you to, got time, I want you to meet Clifford Hughes. Him and Clifford Hughes and Ira Cooper, they went to, one winter they went to Texas and worked.
Okay. So my dad and Clifford went to Texas to work.
Yeah, they worked
Okay, so how long was he in the hospital?
probably 10 days,
10 days. How long did it take him to heal?
about 6 weeks.
And then was he back playing football?
No, that was before he hurt his football. He had that, but how did he?
He played football after he hurt his leg?
Yep.
Wow. And so who were you closest to of all the kids?
Probably Harold.
Yeah? And so you guys hung out together, or how did that work?
Well, we never did hang out together. We always depend on each other more.
Yeah. Did you fight much?
We had one fight and my dad stopped it. We put the gloves on. If we wanted to fight, we had to put the gloves on.
Oh, no kid.
And it got it's getting a little rough. Dad stopped it. We didn't want to stop it. He picked up a stick out there and he says, I'll hit you both with it if you don't stop it. A little blood was coming from both of us.
Yeah. And then, so what was your mom like?
Well, to tell you the truth about it, I really don't remember much about her because, like I said, I stayed with my grandpa most of the time at his house, and my mother was a decent cook, but a lousy housekeeper. And, of course, when they went to Denver, Harold was a sophomore in high school. Junior, and they split up and he stayed with people, and Frosty come back down to Seibert where I was at and stayed with Grandpa too. Then our mother, she run off and we never seen her again until about 72.
No kid. So not very interested in the kids.
Nope.
And what was her father like?
Her father was the most gentlest guy I ever seen in my life.
So why the disconnect? What do you think's going on there?
I don't know. I think she got married too young. Started having kids.
How old was she when she got married?
16 or 17.
Oh, that's very, very young.
Yeah.
Wow. That is very young. Holy mackerel. So do you know what happened to her?
Well, she came back in 72 and she called Frosty. And Frosty called me. We was living in a bar at that time. We came up to Seibert to my in-laws and met with her, gave her some money, and they sent her to Las Vegas. She went to California, and I never did see her again.
And how was she when you saw her that time?
Well, I don't know. She was a pretty good sized lady. And,
Was she friendly to you?
well, yeah, she wanted to be, but I didn't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. And my dad kind of felt the same way, is that right?
Yeah.
So, where did the intellectual side come from? Did it come from her? Did it come from Dad? It came from both of them.
I would say that, of course, I don't know what she had, but Dad was very, very good in figures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was.
Interesting.
But he had, as far as trying to teach any of these kids or helping these kids, he couldn't do it. I mean, he had no patience.
Why? What would he do? Just get angry?
Yeah. That's what I'm sending you to schools to do.
Did he talk much about his parents?
Nope.
Did you ever meet his parents?
No. I met some of his brothers.
And where are they?
They're all in Illinois. Well, no, Albert and Willard, they worked out here at, when I met them, they were working in Canyon City.
Yeah.
But I just a small, I was named after my Uncle Albert,
And that would have been your father's brother.
the youngest one.
And how long did he live to? You know?
No, I only know one of his brothers lived and he passed 70 years of age.
Huh.
Grandpa lived at,
And how old was your father when he died?
let's see, 60, about 67, I think. We'll find out when we get down there and look on the grave.
So he was buried out here. What about your mother? Where was she buried?
California, yes. Dorothy knows, them Darlene knew that. I had nothing to do with it. And I don't think Harold did either.
Interesting.
Well, you know, depending on what side of the fence you're on, you look at it and you was on your own at all times. You know, as kids, it's hard for you to realize this, but most all of our shirts was made out of flour sacks or chicken feed sacks.
That's what your shirts were made of.
Yeah.
And what do you remember about the Dust Bowl?
Well, I can remember the dust that come. I don't know whether you seen that the other day in that storm down in Phoenix, about
Yeah.
rolled in.
Yeah?
That's the way it rolled in. It was black. We knew it's coming from more or less western Oklahoma, and if it was red, we knew it was coming from eastern Oklahoma.
Depending upon the dust that it blew across.
Yeah. But it'd come in. I've seen it come in. We see it come rolling in. You'd go get blankets or sheet and put water on it, hang it on the inside of your windows, and when the storm was over, you'd have to go out and scoop that much dust that flowed out on the sills of the windows. They didn't have screens on them or anything.
Wow.
And the blizzard of 34, 35 in there, I can remember that cattle got out and they drifted, and the cat got with them, and the cat froze standing up right next to a fence post.
Really?
Yeah.
And the cattle survived or no?
No, we lost a lot of them.
They couldn't stand the cold.
Well, they couldn't see. They drifted into water and everything else.
Wow.
You know, we used to have to, in the wintertime, for blizzard, we'd string a rope from the windmill to the house so you could go down and get water and walk back to the house to see.
So they didn't get lost.
Yeah.
Is the house still there?
Nothing.
But you know where it was.
Yep, 9 miles from a mile east. That was one of them. Then the other two are still, they're only 4 miles out of town. We'll go by the little school.
School still there?
Yep. Ain't much, there's just a building there. Darlene even taught there.
Did she really?
Yeah.
So, what's your general memory of growing up? Was it harsh? Was it fun? Was it interesting?
Work.
Work.
You didn't have, I'll tell you, now you think this is odd, but when I come back out of the service, while I was in the service, I rode home just before talking to my stepsister, Dorothy. They said you're going to have a very meek Christmas, and I had a paper route out there, if you can believe that, in the
middle of nowhere.
In the Navy in Remington.
Yeah.
And but I'd had $275 saved. I sent that home, and that was their Christmas. Dorothy and Joanne Barbara said the best Christmas they ever had.
Wow.
But when we was growing up as kids for Christmas, you had a sock, and then that would be an apple, or maybe a grapefruit, or then a few pieces of hard candy. And of course, we called them at that time Brazilian nuts, but that was the way our Christmas was.
And so fruit then was unusual, so a Christmas present of fruit was a nice thing?
Or it could be a scarf, or it could be a pair of jeans if you're lucky, or a pair of gloves. And you know, it's hard for you to realize it, but we had one pair of shoes.
Yeah.
And that pair of shoes, and when you started to school, that pair of shoes, you took it off when you got home, put on your old shoes. You never wore them to do your chores in or anything. And then he didn't allow us to play money marbles. You ever play marbles?
All the time. I had a great marble collection.
Did you ever play them?
Yeah.
But we used to, but you know how you'd wear your toes off and your knees?
Yeah.
They couldn't do that. But I'll tell you, every Memorial Day, we'd go to the cemetery and we'd pick wildflowers up along out in the pastures to put on the graves. And then we'd go to Kansas to my mother's sister, and we generally had memorials down there. But our social life was at the schools, PTA meetings where they'd have them, and box suppers and stuff like that.
What was your perception of America back then growing up? Did you have a concept of America?
Not really. It was just a place where you could work and make a living and enjoy your life and trust everybody. You didn't have this deal now where we didn't know what it was. We lived right on the highway, as you'll see. We never did lock the house. We'd have people, we had gas cans and barrels out there at that time. They had barrels, there'd be gas in them. People would run out, they'd get gas, they'd bring it right back. You wouldn't see that today.
Well, you know, what I mean by what I said about your sense of America is when I grew up in the 60s and 70s, you know, I had a real sense that America was a special place and unique and everything. Did you ever have any sense of that when you were growing up?
No, I never thought of it. I thought it was a good place because I knew that I didn't want to have anybody coming over here and take America and take our freedom away from us, because I thought we was one of the better countries in the world and still do, and we had
Well, I think that's the question. Did you have a sense of other countries compared to you?
Yep.
Did you guys study enough to know what Germany was like, what England was like, and were you guys well schooled in the American Revolution and the Civil War and things of that nature?
more than they are today.
Yeah.
The kids don't
So
have
you had a
that.
sense of what America was all about.
But you know something that I never did realize, I never thought of it too much, was because we never was around them, and you was because you was out in San Diego, but we didn't realize what slavery really was or what it meant. Because, you know, I don't know why it was out in a rural area. You never heard much about it, but no television, you know, at that time.
Right.
And, but you didn't know about people the way they was working until later on. We got books that we could read on about this life that they lived. But today, I think the worst thing we've got going for us is people playing the race card. By that I mean, instead of helping themselves, they think somebody owes them a living for everything.
Yeah.
What do you think of sunflowers?
Oh, beautiful. Well, I know. I think if there's one thing that discourages me at this point, it's that it seems like to be an American, you had to be resourceful. Now, if you're an American, you don't have to be resourceful because the government's going to take care of you.
We made a different lifestyle. I was going to go to the Navy. Go to the school when I come out of the Navy. My dad was sick at that time and married, come back to the farm. So I come back and helped him. Never did get to go to school. I didn't go, I'll put it that way.
How big was Seibert? Small town, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people?
No, it's 240, 300. About the same as it is today.
Really? Same size?
About the same size.
Farming community?
Yep.
What kind of farming?
Well, most of it at that time was dryland farming. We had one of the few irrigated. We dug an irrigation well by hand, and we irrigated 40 acres there. But then now they planted a lot of it to wheat, dryland wheat, and there's a lot of irrigation even up north where we used to live. They got irrigation. They got dug wells. That's what's happened to our water right now. They're pumping all the water on the land compared to what we used to.
You want to know some of the memories I have? I have memories of going to your house and your wife cooking fried chicken, I think, and us blowing up mailboxes with your boys, going up with M80s and blowing up trash cans and waters and mailboxes.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Got the Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Good memories. We had more fun than I've ever had. I can remember that like yesterday. Do you remember that trip?
I know what you did up there. Did you remember? They took you up those hills south of town with the dog, didn't they? You walked over the hills?
I don't remember. We drove around. We had M80s. We were blowing up everything. We were putting them in mailboxes. We were taking trash cans full of water and putting it in and throwing those things in there and ba-boom. We had a lot of fun. I remember being in your backyard. I remember it all like yesterday. It's amazing how you remember stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how did you guys function as a family out here when all 5 of you were out on the farm? Because at some point, right, all 5 of you were there, right?
Well, yeah, but we weren't. Really, we was just small when we was all there, because Darlene left in 42, 43. That's when she graduated, 42. And then they had the sale up there, and then they all went to Denver. I stayed down here, never seen them. And then I went into the service, and I come home. Harold was living in Inglewood. He graduated. And after I'd say 42, if we got I don't ever remember, except at the funeral, we didn't even get at my dad's funeral because Dorothy couldn't make it. We've all been together.
I remember the family reunions, though, that I went to, you guys were all together, right?
Did we ever all get there at the same time?
I thought the one we went to in Manitou, we were all there.
And the one we went to Durango, we weren't.
Durango, everybody wasn't there. Who wasn't there?
Rick and Cindy.
Oh, you're talking about the entire family, but
Yeah.
all the siblings were there. I mean, all you guys were there. Dad, you, Dorothy.
Yeah, we was
The 5 of you were all there.
Yeah, we was the 5, and we was all 5 together at my 75th birthday.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Where?
visit Winter Park in Elizabeth, Colorado.
Was it nice?
Oh yeah, we had a blast.
About 10 years ago.
Yeah,
How was my dad's health back then?
good.
And then we pulled off the side of the road and we went to see Aunt Louise, Uncle Frosty's wife. And it's pretty crazy walking up to the house and meeting her because she didn't look like she changed at all. So the amazing thing is my Aunt Louise and Uncle Frosty owned a Dairy Queen in Lyman, Colorado. And for us as kids, you know, from San Diego, that was the biggest deal. So we'd go visit them. And then for dinner, we'd go down to the Dairy Queen and we'd get free ice cream cones. And this is the Dairy Queen they owned. It's not a Dairy Queen anymore. They closed it down. But man, the memories I have as a young kid, this was the biggest deal in the world to have an uncle that owned a Dairy Queen.
Office.
That's the hospital right there, that little building there. Now, when you were a kid, that was a hospital? Was the motel right here. Look at the sunshine on those tracks. It's called CPR. The government pays them for not farming. Why?
Yeah, took it out of production.
Why?
Well, it was over. They plowed it up, got too much with the dirt storms, and they plowed ahead of. Tried to raise stuff in there that blowed all the time.
So you would walk from town all the way down this road home, 4 miles.
4 miles, listen to the coyotes howling and everything else.
Were you afraid? Were you afraid?
No.
Why not? So this
Right
is just,
back over here, they used to. But this is where we had the Indian battles.
what do you mean, Indian battle?
Well, they had a Indian where they put on a celebration at Keel Cave, and we had covered wagons, horses. We had a celebration.
Oh, I see, a reenactment.
Yeah, reenactment. This is down here. On the other side is where my grandpa lived. We lived down here.
This is Grandpa Gale's.
Yeah.
So now she was from Seibert. my grandfather met my grandmother in Seibert.
Yeah, that's where I learned the garden. He used to have a garden behind that.
You're kidding me. So this is the house where my grandmother's father lived. J.W. Gales.
G-A-L-E-S.
One of the nicest guys you ever met.
Yep, nicest guy. And our section went from here up half a mile.
Now my dad tells a story that he lost a farm, or at least I thought I heard a story, and lived in a silo. Did you guys ever get that bad off?
Well, not on this place. It was for we was little kids and yet. I don't know where that was at.
Yeah.
And we laid in the ditch. And he got beat up
Show me where.
just on the other side of this knoll. Them trees weren't there, nothing there. There wasn't even a fence in there at that time.
Show me exactly where.
About right there where that little tree lies, about pretty close to it. Because the water started running down, and he had to get up and get out of the ditch.
So he got in a hailstorm.
Yeah, he went after the cows. That's down there in the pasture.
So he got in a hailstorm and laid in this ditch and got pretty beat up from the
Yep.
hailstorm.
Yep. See, all these trees has been put in since we was here. Now, there used to be a neighbor house lived over here, all Millers, and this is our place. One over here, this one and that one there. We had both of them at one time.
So this was the main place you lived, right over here?
Well, we lived here first, when we first came down here in 35, and then we bought this place and then moved up here later on. And I'll show you down here.
I don't remember this road being paved when I came
It's
here.
gravel.
Yeah.
See that? How all Millers lived there. Used to be a road into there. And they've put this transmission line in here since I've been down here. We used to run our cattle out here all the time. And we sold the sand for graveling the road. My dad, during the WPA days, this in here, he'd plow this, and they hauled that out and scooped it out by hand. And
What did you plow it with? With horses? A team of horses.
Yep, they plow. And this used to be Sand Creek. That's a Republican River, but there used to be a lot of quicksand in there.
Really?
Yeah. This used to be from on down here. Now this was where we kept cattle on, but from this fence on, that was the first irrigated country around here. My dad, we dug that well by hand.
Is that right?
Yeah, right. This is where we stored the water in, pumped it into that, and then we could put it in.
So talk to me about how deep was the well?
About 18 feet.
So 18 feet down you found water.
Well, it wasn't that far. At that time, it was only probably 6, 7 foot, and you found the water. But
And then how did you get it out of the ground? With a pump?
We had a pump there.
And you used that water to irrigate.
We put it right in there, pumped it in there, and then that irrigated all that. And the way they got this land, so know where there's a well right there.
Okay, let's go look. Is that okay?
Yeah. You enjoying this, aren't you?
Oh, this is incredible. Okay, so we are out in the middle of nowhere in Colorado in Seibert. Sun's going down, it's beautiful. And this is where my dad and his family and Uncle Albert, this was where they lived, right here. And this was the first farm to be irrigated out here because they dug a well and then they would store all the store all the water right in here. That's a good pump. Let's go in here. Watch for rattlesnakes. Oh, is that right? And I'm not wearing the right clothes for this one. So we're watching for rattlesnakes. Is back when you were a kid a lot of rattlesnakes?
Oh yeah.
No kidding.
I'll show you where we used to get them by the fill a matchbox.
Really? And would you eat them?
Nope.
So this was the well.
Yep, this is well.
And now talk to me about the blocks. Are the blocks new or old or what?
I think them still the ones we laid there.
Those are the ones you laid in. What year would that have been?
Oh, in the 40s.
In the 40s.
We, down there below there, there's a big rim that is bolted together. You put them, sunk that down and dug the gravel out of the weight of that. We'd push them on down and we'd bucket had a winch on it and you winch the dirt up here. And see, that's how deep it was. See that?
This right here is
Yeah,
this
that's the pump.
Let's go look at that real quick. We're gonna watch for rattlesnakes too. So this is the pump. So there it is right down there. So you can see, yeah, there is the end of it, right?
Yeah,
that's where the water would come up from.
That's the same thing. Kept the big gravel.
Kept the big gravel out. And then what were these things right here? What was all this?
This is the cylinders in there where they turned around to pump the water up.
Oh, okay. And then this is it right here.
Yep. I'm gonna let you walk up that look inside of that. I'm not gonna do it.
And then what came out of here? The water?
It was in the well, then it pumped, went up there.
And then what ran it? What caused this to turn?
Well, at one time before they got electricity, we had a gasoline motor, and it was a pump belt. Then they eventually got where they put an electric motor on it, and it pumped it.
Worthington. This is really something.
They used to come out here and swim in this.
I know my dad told me, he said you got to made a diving board.
Yeah, there was.
That's it right up there?
Yeah, I'll let you walk up. I ain't gonna walk up.
You're not going to walk over? Come on.
No, I ain't gonna walk up
So this is the reservoir where they had kept all the water, and then you can see right down there where the well was, and then there's the pump. Uncle Albert is right there, and then this is the diving board that I will never forget. When my dad brought me here, it had to be at least 35 years ago. He showed me this diving board that they built. Is that unbelievable? Uncle Albert said Dad was always finding easier ways to do everything, always tinkering and doing everything. This is just too much. Pipe. So you could just see Dad taking this thing loose, letting the water come out. The water must have come out up here. You gotta be careful with rattlesnakes. Look at that. So they dug the well by hand, and all the earthen dam was done with the horses. They had no tractors.
Them seed kits are rattling.
Yeah? No kidding. So when Dad was 12 or 13 years old, you see those trees up there that are a little higher? He was riding a horse, 12, 13 years old, and didn't have any spurs, and the horse bucked him off?
Well, what he's doing, he's breaking his calf to lead, and the calf rope got underneath the horse's tail, and the horse just threw him off.
And then drug him for a long time.
We finally had another horse there and caught the horse and stopped him. Had his foot turned in there and he couldn't get it out.
How did he take that?
Tough.
Yeah.
Like I said, he always wanted to figure an easy way to make his calf, or do something. He figured, make that calf bleed.
Wow.
See that barn?
So he was always experimenting.
See that barn up there?
Yeah.
We painted that, I don't know how many times, with a spray gun.
With a spray gun?
Yeah, a spray gun. But you know how we run our...
Where was the Where was the farm? Where was the house?
One of the first one was down here.
But you actually had a farm earlier than this, 5 miles out, right?
That's where we was born and raised. Up there.
Right, okay. So you were born and raised, and you didn't own the farm?
No. Tom Jones place that we didn't have that.
Okay, so this was your first farm here.
Yep. And right out here, this is all in alfalfa. And we, at one time, we raised turkeys, 1,500 turkeys a time. And the turkeys run out here on this alfalfa. We keep moving them. Had a 4-foot wire fence, and they'd keep them in there. And we stayed out there with at night so coyotes wouldn't bother them and stuff like that.
And you'd eat them?
No, we sold them, took them to Hugo. They picked them and sent them to New York and everywhere.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You remember all these trees? Were all these trees here
No,
then?
we planted them trees.
I know, but were they here when you were here?
No, we planted them. They died. I did string this wire through here.
All the power lines.
That's when I was working for it. That's when I started working for it. And
So somebody's farming this land now.
yeah, I don't know who owns this now. See, we owned that other place up there, and this one went there last.
So this is not the farmhouse, or it is the farmhouse?
This is the farm where we originally started living.
This is the house.
Yep. And this is where we started our turkeys in that. That's made all of cinder blocks and mud blocks.
And you guys built that?
Yep.
And then this is the house where all 5 of you live, plus your mom and dad?
Yep.
No way.
Yeah, that's it. It's been built on too. But right there,
How big was it? What size was it originally?
it's small. Right there used to be the milk house. We built that.
Is that where he did the milking thing?
No, the milking was down here.
Where did he do his milking
Well,
thing?
they've torn it down. Oh, no, right there. Right in that little, that's still there. That was the milk barn.
And that's where he devised his little fixed his little milking thing?
Yep, right there.
Now, what were all these?
This is chicken house.
And you had that here then, right?
No, we had a chicken house on there. And on down here a little ways.
What buildings were here? What is this building right here? See this little building right there? What is that building?
I don't know.
You don't remember that one?
No, that looked like the chicken house.
And the truck, was the truck here?
No, that stuff here.
That's a beautiful old truck.
Chevy.
Isn't that stunning?
We better not go any farther because they can get you down here and they might think you're trying to rustle cattle.
And that's the little milking parlor right over there.
Yep, that was the. About 12 or 13 cows at a time. We had a little trough in there that you.
And that's where he made the milking thing work.
Yep.
I want to get over there. That's the one thing I want to do. I don't know how we'll do it.
I'll tell you what, let's do. I'll find out who owns this, and I'll call them and see if they care if we do it. Cause I'd hate somebody come down here and start shooting.
You think they would?
Oh, damn right anymore, because people are bothering stuff. It ain't like it used to be. You'll find out that after about that far back, there's a little trough about that was when the cow peed in and pooped in, and we scooped it out.
And there's no way to walk over there right now.
You're taking a chance.
You stay here. You look innocent. Where I'm going right now is this is the milking barn where my dad got the milking machine and fixed it so he didn't have to milk the cows. So this is it. It certainly is not much, but could you see the cows coming in here? And this is where he made the little machine work. Wow. You think about it, this is the origin of fast cap right here. This is where ingenuity and using your creativity, using your head and not your wallet to solve problems. This is where my dad did it, with all the cows looking on. Pretty crazy. I'll never forget when my dad was working with me as a cabinet maker, and he devised the rotating table because he saw that I was struggling so much going up and down, nailing and screwing cabinets together. So he said, let's make the table turn. So he made a great big table and made it turn. And that saved me a lot of hassle, just like it saved him a lot of hassle milking the cows, because he got an old milking machine and figured out how to make it work. So we didn't have to milk cows. So this one right here is the kind of chute they used to use. And these are the more modern ones right here. And this is the original house right there.
Smelled the water. We had a water pond down here, and Darlene was going to head them off and had a bat in hand and throwed it at it. The bull hit me in the head and knocked me flatter than a cucumber.
So Darlene trying to hold off the steers,
Yep.
threw the bat and hit you in the head and knocked you out.
Yep. Scared the devil out of them.
Wow. Did they run?
They just kept going. When the cattle's after water, you
Forget
don't
it.
stop. There's 3 and 4 year old steers. We used to go up north here, and we had our cattle out there, up just the other side of this river here. That used to be a flat place, and there's prairie dogs there. That, in the fall, that's when we killed rattlesnakes. Take matchboxes out and kill enough rattles to take the rattles off and fill that matchbox.
And what'd you do with them? Just kept them collected.
Give them to Jess Miller. Guy
What did
that-
Jess Miller do with them?
He take them down there at the filling station I showed you. He saw the tourists coming through. If tourists didn't know what they were. Same way with cockaburs. We pick him up cockaburs and they take him in and sell them to people for porcupine eggs. They didn't know different.
Nah. Entrepreneurs from a young age, right? Did you get any of the never got any of the money, you just gave it to them for fun?
Yep. And then up over this hill there where that rise is, used to be a lot of arrowheads up there. We go up when the dirt flowed, and you go up there and you find arrowheads.
Why do you think there was a collection of arrowheads there? What
Well, there
was
used to be a colony, a campground there, because this is the river sea, and it was up, stayed out of
You
the.
have to show me where that is.
I'll show you some more.
It's early in the morning. We're on our second day. We're going to go back to Seibert. And I asked Uncle Albert, how early did you get up when you were a kid again?
Anywhere from 4:30 to 5.
And how did you get up? Because there's no power, right?
No, Dad come in and say, time to get up.
Yeah. And you went to bed about 10 o'clock, you were saying?
By 10 o'clock.
But what do you do? Well, two questions. You know, what do you do at 10 o'clock at night? You don't have any power or anything.
Well, you got lanterns.
Oh, you had lanterns.
Yeah.
And what kind of lanterns?
Well, some of them were kerosene and some of them was gasoline.
And then, how did your dad get up that early? How did he know to get up?
Alarm clock.
Oh, they had alarm clocks. I know.
Yeah.
Just mechanical ones, right?
In this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you were saying that most of your clothes were made out of gunny sacks or potato sacks or flour sacks?
Our shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I sold all the dresses and stuff like that. We didn't know what button stuff was.
Okay, off to breakfast. So you were saying that you've been caught out here in a blizzard before, didn't know where to go, and the horse led you home.
That's right.
And did you have adequate clothes for a blizzard in the middle of Colorado?
Well, it's adequate for that time. It wouldn't be today. We didn't have big fuzzy hats or really leather hats or anything like that. We just had a cap. We took women's hose and cut the tops off of them and tied a knot in it and pull it down over our head. Sometimes we pull it down and just leave it where you can cut a hole off the eyes and eyes to see out of it. That's why we kept warm.
And that would insulate you enough.
Yeah.
We're going to walk in there?
Well, going up and all.
He died in 60. His name was John, right?
John Ernest.
Wow.
That's the military one. They're for my little baby sister. I had this for her sister.
Where? Right here.
Yep.
And she died at birth.
That's Darlene, and that's where Dorothy's going to be buried.
Darlene's right here. This is Gales. In 1931, wow.
Grandpa died in 61.
So he lived quite a while.
Yeah.
1870, wow. And you don't know where he was from for sure?
Nope. Iowa, I know it's from Iowa.
And where is, so this is your mother?
My
No,
grandma.
this is your grandma from your mom's side.
Mother's not-
So where's your mother's not here?
No, she's in California someplace.
Wow.
Maybe by
Yeah, excellent. So in the wintertime, you would have to break the ice in the tank so that cattle could have.
Yeah, so
water.
They have water, yeah. And eventually, sometime we can have electric heater we put in there, and it would keep the water warm.
one more time what you did with the bones. Tell me that story.
We would gather them up and then take them to town and sell them, and they took and ground the bones up for food and minerals out of the bone.
This is the barn where you had dances, you had played basketball.
No cows down there.
Tell me about Betty Hostetler.
She was a girl that rode the horse down to our place, which is 3 miles, and never missed a day of school to catch the school bus.
She would ride the horse to your place?
To catch the school bus, ride into town to school.
And she would ride through snowstorms, blizzards, or whatever it took.
Yep.
And she lived out here, out there by that barn out there.
Yep.
So Betty Hostetler?
Yep.
She lived way out here.
It was, her name was originally then Chapman, and she married a Hostetler. She never did finish school. Smart as a whip.
Is that right? And she lived out there.
Yep.
Nice girl?
Yep.
She get married?
Yes, she married that Hostetler, but the kids used to make fun of her because she would wear suits because, to keep warm and stuff. They'd make fun of her. You guys talk about bullying now. There's a lot more bullying then.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Why do you think?
Well, everybody was poor then. Now there's some people that's bad. Now this is where we used to. This house wasn't here. Only this house here was here at that time. This is where Harold and I used to get our water from.
And you get the water here and take it all the way back to the farm?
No, we took it down to the school. Where we went to school, I'll show you as we went. Get there.
So now we're coming up on the school yard. Now, Betty Hostetler would go the other direction to catch the bus to come to the school out here?
Well, they closed this school, and then they went the other
Okay.
way. Right here is where we walked up here. And
To
got
get the water.
5-gallon water, 3 days a week. That 5-gallon water, we all drank out of a dipper on the side of the tank, or the 5-gallon bucket. And this is the school down here.
And that was just for drinking water?
Yep. You didn't have each one have a different cup. You had a dipper, and you dip in there and take it out. One we all didn't die. Now you'll have to go pretty slow here because they've added on to this school.
Is this it?
This is the school that we went to.
You kidding me?
No. They added just a little pond here right there.
Oh, we got to go in there. That's just too much. You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not. And right out there, see where them shed, that's where we had to put our horses in. We rode the horses, or brought the buggy up here, leave the horses there during the school time.
So this is the school they went to school in every day. And that's where they kept the horses out there. And this is the school right here. About 9 or 10 kids.
Yep.
And was this little alcove here at the
No,
top?
it was built on later.
This was built up. Was this the original front door?
Yeah, this is it.
This is the original front door right here.
Look, see, they remodeled it and lived in it later on.
Yeah, so somebody remodeled it and turned it into a house. But this was the school. So where was the main classroom?
Well, it was right in the middle. They didn't have any education center.
No walls.
Up here, then back was the stove in the back. This was all open up.
This was all opened up. So where would you sit?
They had little chairs in there, bolted to the floor. You seen them little desks?
And where did the teacher hang out? Like, was this the front of the classroom?
That was the front.
Where?
The front.
This was the front.
That's where our desk in the back was.
So we left the old schoolhouse. We went out on Road 11, a dirt road way out in the middle of nowhere to see where my dad was born. And when you think about where my dad came from, and when you think about all that I've been able to achieve on his hard work, it's pretty incredible.
We're out on Road 11. This is where Dad was born. Out there where those corrals are, there's a little house. There's nothing there now, though, but you can see we are in the middle of nowhere. He did pretty good for being from the middle of nowhere. And it brought me to climb a window.
So we left the old windmill and drove down the road, and we went to a house
So
where
was
my
Dad
dad was
working
actually
for this
riding a
guy?
horse and got bucked off and really hurt his leg really bad and had to actually move to Denver to convalesce and go to a hospital. And this is the actual barn where the accident happened. He always had a bad
That's
limp
it, hey?
for a good part of his life because of that accident.
This is the barn, hey?
They never had any kids. They had everybody's kids.
Do you know who lives here now?
Well, I think it might be. What is the name?
So were they in the barn? Look at the dog's got the same problem Dad had.
And chasing coyotes.
So that's the barn he was in?
That's the barn the horse was in. It happened right out here in front here.
Right here in the front.
Yep.
Wow. Interesting.
Many a time I brought him out, Claude Urban out here after crap on him, and there's 4 men. They played smell or take a nip. They had to have a pint bottle, and if they won, they got to take a nip. If they didn't, they got to smell the cork.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. So this is where Dad hurt himself when he was about 15 or 16 years old? Is that right?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
We reminiscing this. We used to. My brother got hurt out here when Claude Urban's here
Okay.
on a horse, and this is his son. He's from Washington.
So I just came out to look.
Okay. Get back to us.
What is your last name?
Lom.
LAHM.
LAHM.
Who used to live here before you got
Val and Eric Boone.
here? Boone.
And it was Cockerham's.
Cockerham, yeah. Used to be.
Yeah, we bought it in November.
Oh, you did? How you like it out here where the wind blows on the hill?
Oh, this is nothing for where we used to live with the wind blowing.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, this is actually very nice.
Where'd you come from?
We moved from about 30 miles south here.
Down by Kit Carson?
Yeah, we lived in between Carson and Seibert.
So we left the old barn, we went into town, and we saw these wild turkeys sitting on the grass. I figured I'd chase them around a little bit.
We got a wild turkey goose. We're going on a wild turkey goose chase. Woo! Woo! Wild turkeys. So Uncle Albert, what did you do on this tower?
We just go up there.
You climb it? That's what
Climb
you
it.
did for fun?
Yeah.
How often?
Oh, probably 3 or 4 times in my life. It's fine if you got caught in it. What we used to mow our hay with, pull it with horses, 2 horses on it. And this is a lister here, 2-row lister. Took 6 horses, 4 to 6 horses to pull it. That's where you planted your crops.
And it had that little sickle on there that would cut the hay.
Yep. And back, while the pigment went back and forth.
Oh, so you had to move it back
No,
and
it
forth?
did itself.
Dad, what did they say about Dad?
He had a buffalo nickel. He squeezed the crap out of it and sold it for fertilizer to make extra money.
Every morning, right?
Yep.